All right, so today we're doing a deep dive on this one guy's story, James Carter. I mean, talk about a roller coaster. He goes through some really, really tough times, and then out of nowhere, it's like, bam, a total twist of fate just completely changes his life, and then he ends up starting this huge global movement. And we've got his whole story here ready to go. I'm actually really curious to hear what you think about all this.
You know what really strikes me right away is how much all of us can relate to this guy, at least at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just like a regular hardworking dad,
Yeah.
devoted to his job for what, like 15 years?
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
boom, laid off. You can practically feel that like sinking feeling, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like job loss, bills piling up,
Yeah.
all that pressure to provide. It's something we all go through at some point, right?
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, and this story doesn't sugarcoat any of that. Like, it really
Yeah.
gets into how hard things get for him. You know,
Yeah.
the guy is totally spiraling. He feels like a total failure, starts withdrawing from his family. There's even this part where he's standing on a bridge.
Oh.
I know it's heavy stuff, but I kind of think that's what makes the whole thing so powerful, you know?
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like that honesty that really pulls you in. There was this one detail that really got me about how James is holding on to this little drawing his daughter made for him. You know, she calls him her hero in the drawing. It's like, even when everything's falling apart, he's still clinging to that little spark of hope. Like, it reminds him of who he wants to be for his family.
Man, that's rough. But it really makes you think about, you know, how much we want to be there for our kids, like be that strong figure they can always count on. But the thing is, the story doesn't just stay stuck in all that sadness. It actually takes this completely crazy turn when James just happens to run into someone on a park bench. Get this, it's Barron Trump,
Why?
of all people.
That's wild.
Right.
So what happens? Does Barron, like, whip out his checkbook or something?
You'd think, right, but it's totally the opposite. Barron just sits down and listens to James. He actually kind to him, like genuinely wants to hear him out, not pity, just really listening.
It's like it throws everything we think we know out the window, right?
Totally.
You've got this guy who's supposed to be all about privilege and power, and he's just connecting with this guy who feels completely powerless.
Yeah. What do you make of that?
I think it shows how change can happen in ways we never expect.
Yeah.
You know, we always think we need these big, huge solutions. But sometimes it's the little things that make all the difference. Just listening to someone, acknowledging what they're going through, that can start to change things. And that's exactly what Barron does. He doesn't just feel sorry for James. He actually picks up the phone, sets up a meeting at the Trump organization, and then offers him a job, a chance to be a part of this big philanthropy project.
Hold up. So it's not just some handout, like a charity case?
Nope. He's giving James a real opportunity to actually contribute and get his life back on track.
Wow.
And you can really feel the tension in the story here. Like, James can't believe it. And Barron is just so calm. It's almost like he sees something in James that James doesn't even see in himself yet.
You mean like potential or something?
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we all need, right? Someone who believes in us even when we don't believe in ourselves. But this isn't just about getting a job. It's like finding his purpose again. And that's where things really start to change for James. He takes his own struggles with being unemployed, and he uses that to create this whole program to help other parents who are going through the same thing. He helps them find remote work.
So he's taking his pain and turning it into something positive.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
Right.
And it works. Like, families are starting to find stability again. Parents are getting their confidence back. And James is feeling a kind of satisfaction he hasn't felt in years.
It's like he's not just rebuilding his own life. He's helping other people rebuild theirs, too.
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
mean, it's like this ripple effect of good stuff happening. But you know what they say, no good deed goes unpunished.
Oh no, what happens?
So as this program starts to really take off, people start paying attention.
Oh.
And not all of it is good. The media gets involved. They start questioning James's qualifications and throwing around accusations of favoritism because he knows Barron.
Seriously?
Like, you finally get back on your feet and you're helping people.
Right.
And then, bam, you get hit with this wave of negativity.
Oh, that's awful.
Right.
It's a classic tall poppy syndrome. You know, as soon as someone starts to stand out, everyone wants to cut them back down. And for James, who's already dealing with all this self-doubt, that kind of public criticism has got to be brutal.
Yeah.
You can see him starting to question himself again, wondering if all the haters are right.
Yeah.
Like, maybe he is just a pawn in someone else's game.
Yeah. It makes you think, even when you're trying to do the right thing, there's always going to be someone trying to tear you down. So how does James handle it? Does he just give up? Or does he find a way to keep going?
Well, this is where Barron really steps up. It's
Yeah.
not just about the job anymore. It's like he becomes a mentor to James, gives him guidance, and never stops believing in him. Like he's this steady anchor, reminding James of his strengths, the impact he's having, and telling him to stay focused on the mission.
That's amazing. I mean, can you imagine having someone like that in your corner?
Seriously.
Especially when you're facing that kind of negativity.
Yeah,
So this is more than just a support system.
it is.
Right. This is
Yeah,
about having someone who sees your potential even when you don't see it yourself.
exactly.
But I have a feeling the story doesn't end with James just quietly working behind the scenes.
You think he gets his moment in the spotlight?
I think so.
I'm ready for it.
I think it's coming.
Okay, tell me everything. He totally kills it. James gives this like super raw emotional speech talking about, his whole journey from rock bottom to finding his purpose and how this program wasn't just a job, it was like a lifeline. And the whole room goes nuts. People are giving him a standing ovation. Some are even crying. It's incredible.
Wow, I'm getting chills just thinking about it, but I gotta know what happens next. Like, does this change things? Does it shut the haters up? Does it help the program grow?
It's huge. I mean, applications for the program like double overnight donations start pouring in.
Yeah.
And what started as this small local thing suddenly explodes nationwide. It's crazy.
It's like proof that stories have power.
Totally.
When someone's real and honest about what they've been through, people connect with that. Especially when you see someone overcoming crazy obstacles and then using their experience to help others. It's inspiring.
Yeah, for sure.
But I have a feeling there's another twist coming, right? Like this roller coaster isn't over yet.
You're right. Remember those accusations about financial stuff that we talked about before?
Yeah, I thought they cleared their name and everything was good. What happened?
Well, it turns out those accusations weren't random at all. They were part of this whole planned smear campaign orchestrated by this group with a very specific political agenda.
Wait, are you saying this was all political? Like
Yeah.
someone wanted to see James and the program failed just to score political points?
Pretty much the investigation found out that this group really hated the Trump family.
Yeah.
And everything they stood for, they saw the program's success as a threat. And they thought if they could take it down, they could damage the Trump family's image and influence.
That's messed up. So they were willing to risk hurting families who were actually benefiting from the program just to further their own political goals. That's cynical.
It definitely makes you wonder about how far some people are willing to go to get what they want politically. And it shows how dangerous it is when political agendas get in the way of helping people who really need it. In this case, it was families struggling to make ends meet who got caught in the middle.
It's like, what were those people thinking, spreading those rumors? Were they so caught up in their own political beliefs that they couldn't see the good the program was doing? Or was it more calculated than that? Like, were they trying to use people's distrust of the Trumps to their advantage?
It's a good question, especially these days when everything feels so divided politically. It's easy to get caught up in that us versus them mentality and forget that we all have things in common. But when politics gets involved in everything, it's real people who end up getting hurt.
So how did James and Barron deal with this whole mess? Did they just try to ignore it and hope it would go away, or did they fight back?
They decided to confront it head on. Barron went on TV and totally denied the accusations. He said they were a straight-up attempt to sabotage a program that was helping people.
Mm.
He made it clear that the program was about helping families, not about politics.
That must have been tough, knowing that anything he said would be twisted by his opponents. It couldn't have been easy to stand up for himself and the program with all that pressure.
You're right, and it wasn't just a one-time thing. He kept talking about it, using his platform to fight back against the lies and show everyone what the program was really accomplishing. He even went and visited some of the families who were being helped by the program and shared their stories with everyone.
Smart move. Instead of getting bogged down in all the political drama, he focused on the real people whose lives were being changed. It's like he's saying, look, forget about the politics, just look at what's actually happening here.
Exactly, and people responded to that. A lot of people who initially believed the accusations started to question the motives of the people spreading them. They saw the good the program was doing and realized that it was more important than any political agenda.
So did things turn around? Did the truth come out?
They did, thanks to some good investigative journalism, public pressure, and the hard work of Barron and his team. The truth about the smear campaign finally came out. The people behind it were exposed, and everyone saw what they were really up to.
That must have felt amazing for James and everyone involved, to have their integrity attacked, their motives questioned, and then to have the truth come out and prove them right. It had to be a huge relief.
Absolutely. It was a turning point, not just for the program, but for James himself. He had faced so many challenges, personal and political, and he came out stronger. He learned that you have to stand up for what you believe in, even when it's hard. And he saw firsthand how powerful truth and perseverance can be.
He basically went through a trial by fire and came out even more committed to his mission. But I'm wondering, how did the program handle all this turmoil? Did it survive the attacks and the bad press?
It did more than survive. It
Mm.
thrived.
Yeah.
You know what they say, sometimes any publicity is good publicity. Exposing the smear campaign actually helped the program.
Mm.
It brought more attention to it, and people who might have been hesitant to support it before ended up rallying behind it.
So the people who tried to take it down accidentally made it stronger?
Exactly. Their
Yeah.
plan completely backfired.
This story is wild. We started with second chances and resilience, and now we're talking about political schemes and the power of truth. It's crazy how even when you're trying to do good, you can get caught up in forces that are way bigger than you, but ultimately integrity and perseverance win out.
It's incredible how James never lost sight of what the program was really about, even with everything going on.
Mm.
He stayed focused on helping families and never let the
Mhm.
politics distract him from that goal. It really shows his character and his dedication to making a difference.
He's living proof that even when things get tough, you can stay true to your values and make a positive impact. But there's got to be more to the story, right? Like a grand finale where everything comes full circle.
Oh, yeah, totally. That drawing his daughter made. Remember the one he held on to when he was at his lowest point, the one where she called him her hero?
Yeah, such a powerful image of hope, right?
I think it actually represents the whole heart of the program.
Mm.
You know, it wasn't just some cute kid's drawing.
Mm.
It was way more than that. Think about it. It was like a symbol of belief, seeing the good in someone even when they can't see it themselves. And that's what this whole program is about, right?
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like they're saying to all these parents, you're heroes, you're capable, we believe in you. And that message really hit home, going from feeling totally worthless to feeling like a hero again, just because someone had faith in you. That's huge.
It's not just about getting a job. It's about feeling like you matter again.
Yeah,
You know, having dignity, being empowered to take control of your own life.
exactly. And the craziest part is that this whole movement started with someone like Barron Trump. You wouldn't think someone from that world would be so in tune with the struggles of everyday
Right.
families.
It really makes you question those stereotypes we have about who can make a difference.
Yeah.
You know, this guy is often portrayed as being totally out of touch, but then he uses his position and his resources to help people from completely different backgrounds. It shows that anyone can want to make a difference no matter where they come from or what their political beliefs are.
So what's the takeaway here? What's the lasting message of James's story, besides, the feel-good stuff about hope and humanity and all that?
I think the biggest thing is that even when things are crazy and negative human connection and compassion can still win out, it reminds us that even small acts of kindness can make a difference. They create these ripples of positive change that spread way beyond just ourselves, and maybe it'll inspire us to be more like Barron. To look for opportunities to help someone out, listen to them, show them that we believe in them.
It's like that quote, a single act of kindness throws out roots in all directions, and the roots spring up and make new trees. That's James's story in a nutshell. So as we wrap this up, think about those times when someone believed in you, when they saw something in you that maybe you didn't see in yourself. How did that make you feel, and how can you do that for someone else? Maybe it's reaching out to a friend who's having a tough time volunteering for a cause you care about, or just saying something kind to a stranger who looks like they're having a bad day.
Because at the end of the day, it's those little acts of connection and compassion that can change the world. One person, one family, one community at a time. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope James's story has given you something to think about. A reminder that even when things seem impossible, hope, resilience, and human connection can still win out.